Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. You all know my co-host, John. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, everybody.
Well, good morning, Tina.
Not morning, but hey.
Good afternoon, Wade.
How's it going?
Tina, it's more like nighttime there right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you
Eight.
get. That's what
It's 8 for me.
That's right. That's what you get. All right, so
That's what you
tonight,
get.
man, we got a pretty badass show. This really isn't discussed very much, and I think it needs to be, is because we're always worried about, anthrax vaccines, P-tabs, sarin gas, mustard gas blowing up. But let's talk about the petroleum fires. Let's talk about all the oil wells out there. And I mean, I don't know if y'all were around them very much. Anybody? Were y'all around them pretty close?
Not infrequently, maybe 3 days in total.
Okay.
Yeah, not much. It was so damn dark. I mean,
But how about the smoke?
That's what I mean.
Oh,
Smoke maybe
there was a shit ton of smoke. All kinds of smoke.
Right. And so
the thing that people don't think about either about that is the sand. Was that smoke travels a long way, and those dust particles landed in the sand, and then we're constantly churning it up and breathing it. So we were being exposed to it, whether we were right next to it, breathing the smoke or not.
Oh, exactly. And that's the thing I want to kind of get into tonight, because a lot of people, a lot of people may sit there and say, oh, well, it wasn't that bad, or, or this or that, or, but we're going to show a little bit in a second on it. But, John, how many oil wells you think were on fire out there?
There was over 750 oil well fires. 750. I really didn't realize it was that freaking many. That is a lot of fires that he intentionally started.
But that's not also talking about all he poured in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
I mean, Gulf of Mexico.
Persian Gulf.
What the hell? I'm thinking about that storm coming in. By the way, people in Florida, man, we're wishing y'all well. Good luck. It's going to be a Cat 4. And so I have that on my mind, I guess. But yeah, the Persian Gulf, he poured oil, I mean, millions. And I think in the video, it actually talks about how many barrels of oil a day Kuwait lost because of all this. It was like 5 million a day. I mean, that was just incredible.
And I think that people think that, it's just the little snippets on CNN that they saw these oil fires, and once they bored of the oil fires and went on to something else, that the oil fires were done, gone, and out. And they don't realize how long those things burned.
No, you're absolutely correct. In the video, I think it also says how long that they expected the oil well fires. Because I remember we went out there a second time, and it was really funny. I was looking at my DD-214, and it talked about, how many sea days it says I had? 3 years and 2 months.
Oh,
That's how long.
Out in the water?
That's how long we were away from home port. I'm telling y'all, our ship as a supply ship, luckily we hit ports, all the time because we had a load of cargo. But being away from your home port, your wives, your kids,
Is that after over a 4-year enlistment?
4 years, man. 4 years. And
that's tough. And I think someone would say, we signed up for that, right? I mean, that
no, we didn't.
It's not fun.
No, we didn't.
No, he didn't.
No.
You went into the whoa! Pump your brakes, Chief. You went into the Navy. Navy is on a
hold on.
I better call it ship, or I'm gonna get bad out on the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you did sign up for that.
No. I signed up to go to Italy. I didn't sign up to go to Guam. I don't know if the Navy cannot spell, because I mean, believe it or not, I made like a.
Ryder got him, didn't he?
I made a 20. I made a 28 on my ASVAB. Okay, you Army guys put my ass in the Navy anyway. So apparently they had my mindset like, oh hey, you know what, Guam Italy. Oh, that's about the same. Yeah. A
Uh,
lot of water
okay.
on this little polka
It's the
dot.
size of the planet.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but if y'all take the oil well fires and you put Texas together, all the state of Texas would have been completely
Fire.
black. Yep, black. Smoke
Completely what?
everywhere. Black. With the
Oh,
smoke.
I don't.
It,
Yeah, I
it'd be
believe
nighttime
that.
because that's about the size it was out there. And so that's crazy to sit there and think of that. But let's go ahead. I just want to play that clip real quick, and then we'll get into the gist of it, I guess we could say.
In retaliation for the coalition's continuous aerial bombardment, Saddam Hussein unleashed a new kind of destruction. He ordered the Iraqi army to blow up the oil fields of Kuwait. It created scenes of apocalyptic devastation.
It looks like what I envisioned hell would look like. The country of Kuwait is burning.
Hundreds of wells were blown up, sending a wall of flame and smoke thousands of feet into the air. Pipelines were ruptured, storage tanks exploded, and huge lakes of oil pooled in the desert sand. Choking black clouds filled the air, and day turned to night as the smoke blocked out the sun.
This piece of environmental vandalism
Ain't that crazy? That
Yeah, that's a lot of oil fire.
It is, and what's crazy is when you see it on television, it looks so little. It doesn't, the magnitude of how large those fires were is not conveyed in video. They look like they're just little, like, burn barrels of fires going off, and you don't see the magnitude of the size of those things.
I mean, but could you imagine having to be the guy that puts them out?
No.
No, I don't even know. I think I may have heard at one time how that was accomplished, but I don't. I just remember it being dark out, and why is it so dark? I don't think I really understood what was going on at the time.
Over
You know?
10,000.
I don't think we were told at the time. At least I wasn't. We weren't told any. I found out through letters.
That's a good point. I mean, and I mean, 10,000 they from all over the world had to come put them things out. I mean, so Tina, let's go a little bit over the hazards. What are the hazards from or
So you
or-
obviously had the burning oil wells that you saw, and as was mentioned, there were, ranging from 6 to 800 is the number that you keep seeing float around. We were exposed on a daily basis, whether you were in the Air Force, Army, I don't know, probably the Navy. We had frequent use of diesel. It wasn't like we could run up to a gas station and fuel up or anything like that. So there was jet fuels, we had military vehicles, we had aircraft that we had to, there were fuel vapors, there were combustion byproducts that we were exposed to that were outside of that, right? The oil wells. So when we're talking about petroleum exposures, it didn't just come from that. That was a big part of it. The oil mist and vapor, obviously, that came from those oil fires, that, as we all know, it travels, smoke travels, poison travels. You have biological or chemical warfare catches on the wind, it travels. It doesn't just stay in that one area. Depleted uranium was often mixed with the oil and fuel residues, which actually created a compound exposure for us. I mentioned already the petroleum-laden dust that was traveling around and in the sand, and then every time you walked, drove a vehicle, did anything, it's turned into this fine powder that you are now breathing. The fuel storage and handling, particularly those who had the responsibility of fueling the vehicles, who had the responsibility of keeping those giant lister bags. Y'all remember those? You drive by them, they were like gargantuan and they were filled with fuel. So you had the truck drivers that were bringing that in, you had those people that were filling those things, and who knows how contained that was. There was gas vapors, all of those things that were, the folk that worked in that area were exposed to. And as you mentioned, there was the deliberate release of the crude oil into the water, into the Gulf, the Persian Gulf water. That was going on. So when he says a deliberate act of vandalism, I would say that he was like, Katie, bar the door, I am going to scorched earth here. And we all kind of, in some way or another, have been exposed to these products at a level that I do believe has contributed to what's going on with us.
No, I totally agree. And, a lot of people cannot imagine unless they were there. But there's also a lot of people in the United States that deal with oil well fires. You got your refineries and everything. And, and I remember the refinery down here not too long ago in Houston. They evacuated everybody out.
But there's laws and regulations that govern that, right?
Right,
Every year.
but as the United States being over there,
because they recognize the hazard
that's right.
that it presents.
Right, we were the guinea pigs for that, I guess. I guess because they were like, "Oh, them guys be fine out there." Because in the Persian Gulf, there were so many oil well fires. I mean, I don't think there wasn't one that wasn't on fire. And I have met quite a few guys from the units that were out there that come to our shop, and they would tell us stories like how they put them out. I'm like, oh, hell no. That's like an onboard ship fire.
I would love to hear a story because I don't think I had a clue what they did about it.
You know what? I need to get one of them on, and they can explain exactly what they did. And I mean, I commend them people. Most of them were civilians.
Sounds unsafe.
I think almost all of them.
That's why we had the Defense Base Act, is because of the civilians that were taking the risks like that.
Well, like Navy ships out there, they had USNS that were actually, civilian ships mixed with Navy. And, I mean, them guys made a lot of money. Well, I made absolutely nothing.
Yes, it pays to be a contracting company who supports a war effort.
Boy, yeah, you're right. And so, and that's why, this topic to me is important because I mean, the second time we Southern Watch we pulled into the Persian Gulf, it was just haze, and all you can do is just smell it. It was like, golly, man, and we're pulling in. I'm like. And
was it the most rancid, like a rancid, I can't even describe it, like bitter, rancid odor.
Right, and it's like you took a shower, but, I know y'all can take a shower out there, but in the Navy, you got to shower every day. Sorry.
Showers?
A nice shower. Right after.
We built a shower out of pallets, and we used like GP tent pieces.
Every day?
I'm freaking engineer. We build our damn own showers.
Every day? Every day?
I'm gonna go stinking ass without a shower.
Every
The only
day.
thing is if you were a female, you had to watch out for the observers.
Yeah.
You were trying to shower.
Well, I mean, but were y'all able to take showers every day? Look, wait. No? Okay, see, we were. That's where we were gifted. Doesn't mean it was like hot water, but it was at least water. And so you could get that smell out of there. And see, we had to clean stuff like grease pits. We had to work with grease a lot. We had JP5 fuel we transferred, oil. I mean, everything. And so many hazards were out there. But, and this is where I'm going to bring kind of Wade into this one because, he sent us a article about Dr. Glom's findings and stuff. Let's get a little bit over that, Wade, because I think a lot of people need to hear about some of the findings that she found on there. And so let's go on that.
Well, back to your oil fire. Just from what I've, I kind of watch and track and talk to different people. It's the Marines took the brunt of the exposures, being where they're located in Kuwait. When I say we had smoke, yeah, the day turned to night, but we weren't getting doused with oil.
Right.
Right.
When you talk to a Marine that was in Kuwait, you're talking about these guys driving through that shit, and they're getting pelted and doused in oil. I mean, then you sit and you talk to the Gulf War Babies and Parents United group, and you pay attention to some of those families, and I'll ask them, what did your husband do? Where did they serve? Type of thing. And predominantly, there are a lot of Marines. So I don't know if that tracks anywhere, but I'm just saying that's what I have personally noticed. I did a lot of research today to find research. Everything that I found no civilian research on petroleum or fire exposure. Everything that the VA has done and the RIS, or the War-Related Illness and Injury Center, everything is inconclusive, further study needed. And that was everything. So they're not really putting any, I don't feel like, they're not putting any effort or any money into it at this point. Okay.
Sounds to me like whoever was researching it ran out of grant money, right? And couldn't
Well,
get
there's, or the money is not, it's quote unquote, it's not worth researching. In the big
It's
picture.
kind of like the supplement industry. There's not a lot of research in it because there's really not a lot of money to be made in it, right? And from my personal perspective, I don't speak for the government or anything like that. But you saw it happen with Vietnam. I think we're seeing it happen with us. They wait until we're all 1 foot in the grave before they acknowledge, oh yeah, all the stuff that you've been sick about is real. And now then we'll help you if you jump through the appropriate hoops. Whereas they should have taken care of us out the gate. They know what we were exposed to, and they knew what was going on. That's just my thoughts.
Right. And like Dr. Glom's study, it was from the Gulf War illness. David is his first name that posted it. That they released. Yes, a lot of the illness is tracking back to evidence of mitochondrial dysfunction, also playing a role with individual genetics and genomes. And without getting like off in the weeds, basically we all have different DNA makeup and genomes. So for instance, I know John was, I know he was over, not in the exact same area, but in the same AO. So, but we have different makeup. We might have been exposed, let's just say like we were exposed to the exact same thing identically. One of us may be horribly affected, the other one is not affected at all. And that's basically what it's coming down to. And basically that is just basically trying to identify where are we at now? I don't know. I mean, yeah, we have mitochondrial dysfunction. Fix it.
Yeah, right. Well, you got me down the rabbit hole.
Like you're saying, Vietnam went on for a way long time, and they had a way larger population. We have no population. We have a drop in the bucket compared to Vietnam veteran groups, which I think is why maybe they stepped up and are supporting us greatly because they know that there's something afoul. So the other thing I did talk to a guy, and I'm not being like the antagonist, protagonist type, but I'm just like, some guys I noticed talking. I like to ask questions, and he posted that he got awarded sleep apnea and something else due to his MOS. Yeah, but due to his MOS and what his exposures. So I asked him what exactly his MOS was, and he was a flight crew chief on a helicopter, Chinook. So he was dealing with JP4, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. But then when I go back and I try to think this stuff through, I was there 9 months, from August to April. So I'm thinking, let's just say he was there August to April. What did he do the rest of the time that he was in the military?
Well, it depends. Was he in the Army or the Navy? Or?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was a flight crew chief on a Chinook, and like that was his MOS.
Right. Well, they flew around a lot. It depends what they did because I know at one point.
No, but no, my point, Kevin, is you're on a 4-year enlistment. Let's just say he did 4 years. He was
Okay.
there. Let's just say he was there 9 months. What exactly did he do for the rest of his enlistment? He was a flight crew chief on a Chinook. So how can you
Practice.
point to one thing of being around
Right.
just because I was around JP4 for a couple of months in the desert doesn't make me sick? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there because you know.
Criteria is flawed.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
So
go.
one of the things that I had heard that I kind of forgotten about is that our uniforms, the uniforms had been treated with methyl carbamate. So I'm not exactly sure what the hell it is, but it's not a good thing. Just like when we were one of our assignments we were given was to bury the dead. So we would be taking corpses off of tanks and burying them. And we're decontaminating our equipment. So some of the times we're using just regular hand shovel, and they were giving us this brown. I wish I could remember what it was. It came in a brown plastic bag. We'd open them up, and I remember opening that one up for the first time, and I got a headache, like instantaneous headache, whatever the bloody hell was in that.
What was it for?
It was for decontaminating our tools after we handled the dead. And these were dead that were either on tanks or laying next to tanks, laying out in the middle of nowhere. So
I was just
we
about
were
ready to
using
say we called the engineers to do that, but you were the engineers.
True. Yeah, we got some lovely stuff we had to do. But yeah, I don't know what that stuff was, but that was whatever was in that shit. I'm sure that wasn't good. I mean, and like you depleted uranium you mentioned a little while ago, Tina. That stuff. I didn't think about the fact when you hit a tank with whatever round hit that tank, if it's or there's so many chemicals that get distributed. Yeah, I mean, and of course we're coming upon this stuff shortly after it happened,
Well, it's still smoking.
and oh yeah, yeah.
Now
And,
tell
oh
me,
God, it's
and I don't know, Kevin. I know you didn't see it. I don't know if you did, but John. So you're talking about a depleted uranium round that shoots from one tank to blow up another tank. That it will get. If you look that up on YouTube, it will cut through a tank like butter, and then explodes because you have depleted uranium in your round, right? So that depleted uranium, it blows up, and it doesn't blow up like boom bam explosion. It incinerates whatever inside of it is. And as it's incinerating this depleted uranium, it's emitting what they call ionizing radiation, which now is just floating around in the air. So then, as we go up to these tanks and you see these bodies, the bodies aren't blown up; they're burnt to hell. The tanks aren't blown to shit; they are just burnt. And everybody's like, "What is this?" I mean, it's the first time we've ever seen anything like that.
I mean, usually the tanks are completely, the tops are blown
Gone.
off. I mean, there's nothing left.
Okay,
And
but
there's minimal blood; they're just burnt.
okay, but let's say this. See, this is what the problem is. I think for our generation over there during the Gulf War, so many variables.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Just added, and look at Tina.
We can make it really, really simple for everybody to understand the concept of what Wade is trying to say. We all have a unique biome of what we're susceptible to, what we react to, what triggers our immune system, those kinds of things as human beings from whatever. There could be some long lineage of, health issues that are passed down to you, but you can make it real simple. Some people, when they got COVID, it was fatal. Some because they had comorbids or whatever, or were predisposed. Some people got it and it was just like a bad case of the flu. I would say it's kind of a similar situation for us, right? It just depends on your makeup, your biological makeup, how you.
I mean, luck of the draw. And I shouldn't say luck of the draw, luck of how your body, your cells are made and how they react. Yeah, your defense system.
Exactly. Linda, how you doing tonight? Good. And so and this is
Technology problem. Sorry.
Glad to see another woman on the crew.
Hi.
and this is the one thing also is that you know the Afghan veterans, they probably don't know what they've been exposed to. They're going to find out later on, like we did.
Yep.
And then, like Vietnam, then us, and then Afghan, then whatever, what else goes on. And so, and that's the exposures that military is exposed to is like 20 times higher than, 20,000 times higher than the normal civilian population, unless you live in East Palestine. They just got bad luck of the draw there. And so with the petroleum out there, though, you got to think about all the wildlife. I was reading that, like, their wildlife just went way
They're dead.
down. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dead.
Everything was
Camels, dead.
Yeah. And so, and it's almost like, okay, they have to start all over there environmentally.
And their whole ecosystem start all over.
Exactly. And then, but how many years does that take?
Oh.
Years and years and years. Because they said it would, took them 5 years to put out all the oil well fires? From what
I have no idea.
5 years?
Is that what you read?
Took them
5 years?
years to put out all the oil well fires.
So that was chronic long-term exposure that I think I'm just now learning that I had, right? I mean, I didn't know that this didn't stop for 5 years. I don't know about you guys, but when I got out, I didn't want to think about this crap anymore. I was trying to be a civilian, and that's what my focus was. I did not want to hear about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to answer questions about it. I just want to be left alone about it. I just wanted to focus on my new life.
And that's just it, because, I never talked about it. Number one, to me, civilians don't understand unless they're there. And so it's hard for them to believe, like, man, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid over there pressing buttons. I have those buttons in there, guys.
We didn't know any better but to believe the stuff we were told either, right?
Oh,
do this,
right.
yes, sir.
Right. Well, you didn't tell them no. You didn't go, oh, no, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless you wanted to go make big rocks into small rocks.
Well, that's
what, you talking about Learfield?
Yeah, literally.
No, I was talking more like Fort Riley or something like that. No, I was at Leonardwood. That's where we go.
Okay.
I'm an engineer at Leonardwood.
Okay, but
we didn't make big rocks into small rocks. What are you trying to, are you like, what are you trying to say there, Tina? Are you
like
bashing?
The rock, right?
No, not Leonardwood.
See,
you did
I've never
freeze
called that a rock.
Tell me you didn't freeze to death when you were there.
I did do that. It was bloody ass cold. There was nothing fun about that. Nothing.
Now I will say this though. It was nice. I gotta say this. It was nice though on the cold nights. It was like when it got really cold, and you pass up them oil rig fires at night, and you're standing outside and watch. It's like, whew. Man, warm.
It was nice.
Hey, no. Like it was warm. Yeah, it got cold out at sea. What, you don't get cold out at sea?
Well, you said it was nice. I don't ever remember a time it was nice on that freaking sand pit.
No, well, I wasn't on the sand. I was in the water with a bunch of snakes.
Like warming your hands like you're at a bonfire. Like
you can feel it, man. You pass up that oil rig while it's on fire. And you're just like, oh, cow, man, you can feel that thing, man. You can feel the heat coming off of it. That's how crazy it was.
If you think about how far away that was, that's crazy if you think about that.
Well, sometimes we weren't that far away. Like we passed right next to one, like, ooh, yeah, mm-hmm. You can feel that heat coming off of there. But it was just amazing how many oil wells were on fire out there. And, I didn't even think about the JP5 fuel or any of that stuff that we all handled. Hell, I fell into, we were disconnecting a hose, and it's one of, giant hoses about that big around. And JP5 fuel just went all over all of us. They sprayed us down with salt water with the hoses. Oh my God, you
Oh,
talking
damn.
about burn like hell?
Ooh,
Burn
that would
like
be
hell.
fun.
No,
Did you?
it
So
wasn't fun.
did y'all use DEET when you were
Mm-hmm.
there? That was wonderful stuff.
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
DEET, insect
Well,
repellent
you know,
type
that's
stuff.
kind of one of the hazards that they have through, I guess, for some of our exposures. It wasn't just DEET; it was whatever else was in it. They banned that
Well,
insecticide
right, but they
business.
also lined y'all's clothing.
The chocolate chips, or I
Right.
think I'm saying it right, but it's like permethine, which they still
Yeah.
use. I mean, it's still in deserts.
Right.
So
And that's what, to me, I mean, man, y'all had it worse than what I did in the Navy. I'm sorry. But it's,
I'm not saying I had it worse than you. I'm just saying we all had a lot of
no,
crap that we
I'm
were
saying
exposed
y'all,
to.
Different
I'm
crap,
saying y'all
but
had
it
it
was still
worse.
crap.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. You know, by time though, it's just so weird to know. Like, I would like to really go back, and I wish I would have had a camera or a video camera and really took pictures and video
Right?
of what it was really like out there. You know, like during the day when it looked like night, or
What was it like out there, Miss Air Force Linda?
yeah, sunny
Um,
skies.
I sent you all, I don't know if I sent Kevin, but I sent some of those photos because I used to take a lot of photos when I was out there. But I was out in the desert. So, we were, Abu Dhabi is, off the Gulf,
Mhm.
uh, but a different place than Dubai over there in the Gulf. But,
I've been to Abu Dhabi.
um, yeah, so and we were out in the middle of nowhere, but I did travel because I was in transportation, so we did drive. But I just remember it's just so faint because you're all talking about, we're talking. I was looking up the burning, and I was there from August until April or May, and I just looked up about the oil wells, and again, finding the truth and what's online versus what the truth is really hard to find. But they said that between February, oh, my screen just turned off. Between January and February 91, they started burning the oil wells, and there's 600 of them. There's no way that did not come down. Look at the fires here, in Canada, the fires in California, the fires out west. The jet stream is bringing all that. We
mhm.
fire is 1,000 miles away, or
Right.
at least up in Canada, and down here, southern Wisconsin, it's a cloud. It looks
I
like
was just
just
gonna say, John and I are in Iowa, and we see the same thing.
Well,
When you see
so
it, we
Mexico,
see it. Yeah.
Mexico,
yeah,
when they
so
burned
yeah, so
their
you all see it too down there.
yeah,
So imagine like oils, 600 oil wells on fire. I'm trying to remember because, you know, it- at the time, what we remember, what we're focused on, the rumor mill, we were left out of it. More people back home knew what was going
right.
on than what we were going,
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't know shit about what was going on, other than
And,
what.
and now we know too that what they were being told was probably propagandized. It
Right.
probably wasn't.
Well,
Well, and then and again, look at the mindset though, being in the military. We don't question it. We're just out there.
well,
We're
of
just doing
We
it.
were
Like
babies.
course.
even if stuff was going on,
I
we're just doing
question
our job.
everything now. I don't know
So,
about y'all. I question
oh, I
everything.
know.
Everything I
I
do, I
am too.
question
I'm
everything.
making up for it.
I'm like, what's on that menu at McDonald's? Just kidding, Wade. Just kidding.
Oh, I
I
know.
haven't been. I have not been to
I
McDonald's
question
again.
everything
I
now.
have not been to
You go
McDonald's
get your
again,
flu
Wade.
shot and ask if you want other shots. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Well,
I am like no shots. I'm not
yeah.
taking it.
I think the one thing about it though is like I saw something. It was an ad that the VA starting the middle of this month is supposed to start dealing with burn pit exposures.
An ad?
Yeah, I saw an ad. It was on TV that the VA is going to
What are
start.
they advertising?
They were advertising sign up for the VA, but because of the PACT
Oh.
Act, it's starting. I
Yeah,
think
it's the
and
burn. Is it the burn pit registry?
yeah, no, it was the PACT Act exposures,
Oh, okay.
but it literally said
So
that
there,
they were
yeah.
going to start They were going to start dealing with the exposures.
So they're opening
Big
up the
start.
medical, they're opening up the VA to people that may not be eligible for VA medical care. Like, let's say they don't have any percentage, any disability or whatever. But if you, what they're doing now is opening up to anyone that was exposed, whether,
Right.
you know, if they have 0%, far as on, you know, their disability.
It's because they got to raise
They have
the
nothing,
numbers.
but they're opening up to everyone to come in and get medical care. What that medical care is, I don't know, because I've never been offered any treatment specifically to.
No, right.
I'm fighting with my doctors right now. I need help. I'm exhausted. I'm like I mowed half the lawn today because I am just, and my body
Exhausted.
hurts, and I need help. And the doctors are like, I don't know.
Well,
Take
Throw a
vitamins.
pill at you in a heartbeat, though, won't they?
Hmm?
You know, they'll throw a pill at you in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
You know, it's like you could come home with a cache of goodies that would probably lay you out for a month. But I am running into the issue. I don't know if you guys are, that with it is the older we get and the further away from this we get, the more the doctors have zero clue of anything about anything. I think the PACT Act is kind of drawing them back into it
Right.
at some point, but it's still only that little bucket
No,
list, right?
I
That they
agree.
pay
I
attention to.
think it depends what
So,
hospital.
say again.
I believe it depends on the hospital.
Oh,
Well,
well,
Because
I've had 4 doctors in the last 4 years, and none of them know.
right.
None of them know, have any expertise in this area at all. My private
And that's
doctor,
in the VA?
he's the
That's
one that
actually in the
diagnosed me
VA?
with it, and he had no idea.
That actually in the VA that you're
Yes.
going to the doctor?
Yes.
See, that's scary because I typically go outside the VA because I have a hard time trusting the VA doctors. So I have health insurance, so I go outside, and it's even worse because they don't. You say Desert Storm, they're younger than me. They're like, huh? You know.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
my private doctor, in 2014 and 2015 diagnosed me with fibro. And 3 months later, I found out, because of some mailers I was getting from the VA, that it was related to that. And that's when I applied for my disability. But my doctor, he diagnosed me with it. I come in and say, hey, it's Gulf War. He's, even with fibro, he's like, he's a wonderful doctor, private doctor. He said, I know I diagnosed this with you, but I don't know what to do for you.
No, right.
So then I went through a divorce in 2019, and around 2020, 21, I had to start going to the VA all the time because, like you, I'm like, I'm not going to that environment. I mean, I was triggered. I went one time in 2018, I think, 2018 or 19. I went in and saw this doctor. He was a student doctor from the training hospital next door, and he treated me horribly to the point where I was in tears. I'm never coming back there again. Now I'm forced to go there. But these doctors, they just don't know, and they're it's not there in their field. They don't. I've been asking for specialty doctors. There's one in New Jersey, I was told 5 years ago, and I have yet to see this doctor or hear from him or.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
I've
they're
all,
probably talking about the War-Related Illness Injury Center out there in New Jersey,
yeah.
and that's a
again,
referral. You have to ask
war-related
somebody
injury.
there for a referral there. And see, Kevin, this is what you and I talked about. Just that little back and forth. Everybody is pushing to get an IDC code for Gulf War illness. What in the hell is that going to do for anybody? Great, I come in and I have an IDC code for Gulf War illness. Treat me. That's going to mean nothing to anybody. At least if I walk in there and
Diagnosis, and it
say
means that now the
I
insurance
have,
will pay for it.
But
well,
No,
but see,
right.
hopefully, yeah, they'll
VA,
get, maybe
Yeah. I
maybe
mean,
there's some people out there that don't have insurance or struggling. Maybe hopefully it's another resource for them, even for other health things going
well,
on. But
like you said, if you have a diagnosis of fibromyalgia or like I have cluster headaches, at least I can go to a neurologist and get treated for cluster headaches.
and
With a blanket diagnosis of Gulf War illness, I'm not going to get shit. And I don't know why everybody's trying to push so hard for this. It's going to mean absolutely nothing.
Well, I will say this. It documents it, right? It's like for mental health, there's a DSM. For medical, there's an ICD, and
Absolutely.
those are recognized illnesses that have a genuine attachment and definition of what is in them and what they are. And although you're right, they can't do crap for us. They really can't, right? There's nothing to be done. But at least we're not going in there shot in the dark saying, I got this going on and that going on and that going on, and expecting the doctor to pull all the pieces together and figure it out, because we can't figure it out. We're just a litany of symptoms at this point. Now then, their software will drive them into that diagnosis, so at least they'll know what it is. Because you say go for illness externally now, they act like it's like fibromyalgia used to be. Like that's made up, that's not real, you're crazy.
Umbrella, and this is an umbrella term that I imagine this umbrella, and then all these symptoms underneath this umbrella, and there's no one way to treat it. But I don't believe that. I believe there is something out there that again, you're all talking about how our systems are all, the genetics are all different. There is one core, something core that we were exposed to. I was down south. There's people, men up there right on in Kuwait, right up there on the front line. They were exposed to different things, but we do have one core, something that was going on. And why some and some not, just like cancer, I guess. So cancer, why is it prominent in some families and not others? And COVID and everything else, why is it hitting? But there has to be a core, something to, well, this person, just like mental health, there's different medicines that help us, but let's try this, let's try that, let's try this. And they're not doing that. They don't know how to do it. And we have to go in and say, I want to try this. I'm demanding that my B vitamins get checked and my D vitamins, and that my adrenal glands were checked, and my liver values, and I have some GI issues, and I'm demanding all this stuff. And the tests are coming back and they're like, it's not showing anything, but I had an MRI done. I had all this stuff done because I want to make sure it's not this, this, and this, so I can say, okay, and focus on that. But I have to demand that. They won't do it.
Well, of course not. Of course not. And on top of that, because we're about to cut the program and everything going to that show. But just to let all y'all kind of pay attention to one thing, they released a news article today that up in Canada, they can't get Cymbalta, and which is, for mental illness. And so that's
how they treat fibromyalgia too.
That's right. And treated for nerve pain. That's exactly what it's used for. And remember when I did the segment about me going crazy? Well, there you go. That's exactly what I was on. And so with that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening. Tina, Linda, Wade, of course, always John. And I want to thank y'all for coming on. And we're about to hit into the after show. But hey, y'all go check out our YouTube page. Y'all share it, like it, subscribe to it. And also check us out on Patreon. And also, if y'all want to get a hold of me, because I saw a lot of new people in the comments, y'all go to Kevin Simon at GoForSideEffects.com. Shoot me an email. And I want to get people on the show. I want them to start telling their stories and get back to the basics of what everything's about during Desert Storm, so people understand what we went through. But I want to wish everybody a great night, and we'll see y'all later. We're going to go to an after show now.